What's up, my friends in film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching? Thank you so much for giving us just a little bit of your time. I had to rearrange the schedule as much as I kind of wanted to have some fun with Dr. Giggles and maybe have a little bit of fun with this goofy horror movie. I feel like Hellraiser is just a more appropriate film to talk about this time of the year because I just think it's a better movie overall. But we're going to find out what you guys think as we get into our review of Hellraiser. Here joining me, as always, are my two horror aficionados, probably the two most important people to this channel this month of the year. Starting with my hetero life mate, Jeremy. What's up, brother?
I'm really sad that I don't have an Alice in Chains shirt, but I think everyone understands what I'm trying to say there with my little my little quote.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. You've also got good taste in music, and I appreciate you here. Yeah, I didn't know we were doing this until about, 2 minutes ago, and I was like, oh, we're switching gears. But you know what? Still a good movie to review, and I'm ready for this. This is a classic.
But you're well-versed. You're an expert in the genre already. I'm willing to bet I could drop a movie on you guys as we go live, and most movies you're going to be like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, I got it.
He just rolled through his head and be like, got it, let's go.
Right. I'm making cosplay right now. Hold on.
Yeah, give him 10 minutes off screen. He'll put something together. And, of course, the Shapes of the Lone Star State, the man who may be mentioned in Britney Spears' autobiography. You should go pick that up. I mean, you never know. She's talking about everybody else. Our man Tex, what's up, brother?
Pay no attention to the line on the bottom of my screen. It's not, that I was on top of things, because I totally thought we were doing a different movie tonight. But guess what? You cannot earn the rank of horror aficionado without being prepared for all comers. So bring it on, but no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering. That's all I got to say. So it's all good.
And in case you haven't figured it out, we are here tonight to talk about the horror classic Hellraiser. Hellraiser is a 1987 British supernatural horror film written and directed by Clive Barker and produced by Christopher Figg. The film is based on Barker's 1986 novella titled The Hellbound Heart. The film marked Barker's directorial debut. Its plot involves a mystical puzzle box that summons the Cenobites, a group of extra-dimensional sadomasochistic beings, say that 5 times real fast, who cannot differentiate between pain and pleasure. The leader of the Cenobites is portrayed by Doug Bradley and identified in the sequels as Pinhead. The film made $14.6 million against a very modest budget of just $1 million. And since its release, the film has divided critics, but generally received praise from horror fans. Initial reviews range from Melody Maker calling it the greatest horror film ever made in Britain, to Roger Ebert decrying its bankruptcy of imagination. It was followed by 9 sequels, the first 7 of which featured Bradley reprising his role as Pinhead. A franchise reboot also titled Hellraiser was released on Hulu in 2022. On the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, 70% of 53 critics' reviews are positive, with an average rating of 6.5 out of 10, with the website's consensus review reading, quote, elevated by writer-director Clive Barker's freakishly unique vision, Hellraiser offers a disquieting and sadistically smart alternative to mindless gore. I think that's a pretty fair way to say it. I think it's not a bad way to describe this movie. I'll go to you first, Jeremy. Give us some quick thoughts on this before we do our deep dive into Hellraiser.
I think the only thing about that I might have to take issue with is I think 28 Days Later has got a pretty good stake about being the best horror movie in Britain, but whatever.
Well, now no, I don't know if that movie had come out by the time that person had made.
Yeah, I was like
review, so that's fair.
I don't know when that happened.
Yeah, 28 Days Later was in the 2000s. This was, like 20 years before almost.
Yeah. So I don't know when that was said, but I don't know. I'd make that argument if it came out after. I know I can agree. This is a pretty wild movie for what was this, 87, I think. So
yeah,
the effects on just the Cenobites and Uncle Frank, just that whole that's terrifying looking straight up, and that's pretty mind blowing for 87. The effects are pretty awesome. You know me, I'm an effects person, so I appreciate it, and it's a pretty fun story, and I wish it clicked to me, because once we were trying to think about what about when the main villain is a woman in horror, and I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of that same vein. So it doesn't happen often, but when it does go off.
Yeah, Tex, how about you? Give us some quick thoughts before we break into our rundown for Hellraiser.
You know, I actually may shock a lot of people on this review because I am not a Hellraiser guy. I have seen the first 4 and then some of the direct-to-video sequels, but I think this is one of those franchises a lot of people say they know, but they actually don't. I couldn't even tell you until you read off how many sequels there actually were, because the majority of them went to straight to DVD hell, just so the studio could hold on to the rights to it. And I mean, obviously, we'll break it down more, but is it a classic? Sure, but it's just because something's classic doesn't mean it's good. Like a 1972 Ford Pinto is technically a classic, but you ain't gonna buy it. You know what I mean? But
I saw Cujo. I'm not getting one of that pieces of shit.
Why do you think I said that car? I was testing you on your horror knowledge, and you passed, a good sir. You get a gold star, Jeremy. Look at you.
I know. Not going to get me away from a rabid Saint Bernard, so I'll pick something better.
Yeah, for me, I mean, just sticking specifically to this movie, I was watching a couple days ago. It's terribly dated. I mean, I found a funny piece of trivia about the special effects and how Barker did them all that is kind of funny and kind of fits the relatively low budget, almost independent style of filming that they did for this film. But it's still it's one of those movies that's a really great concept, but it's the effort didn't quite get there in spots. I think overall this is a good movie. It's one of the funner horror films to watch, but it's one of the more interesting ones to watch, to be sure, because it's a different kind of dark. It's a different kind of horror, but ultimately it's a good film. I mean, a lot of people put Pinhead on their Mount Rushmore of horror movie baddies. I don't quite know that he's up there, but I mean, he's one of the ones that I would interchange kind of in that fourth spot. I mean, the first 3 are kind of clear. The fourth one, I mean, it kind of depends on what day of the week it is. But yeah, Pinhead is definitely one of the more interesting villains. Not used quite effectively in this movie at times, but I mean, we'll get into that in a second. But I mean, let's talk about Clive Barker for just a second. I mean, he's become a name after this, but do you put him up there with, I mean, look at some of the stuff that's been created. I mean, we've got Freddy, we've got Jason, we've got Mike Myers, we've got all these great names in horror. Like, I should go to my notes since I, probably taking them and all. It's like, do we put him up there with somebody like a Carpenter or a Craven or a Sam Raimi even, or a Romero? Is he kind of the little brother of horror film producers? Tex, I'll go to you first.
There's so many names that you just listed off. I mean, from Tobe Hooper to John Carpenter to Craven to all of them. All of these guys are top tier names. If you want to argue who's best, that's really going to depend on who you like more of their characters. But when it comes to Clive Barker, he had a few films made by other people. This film was his directorial debut, and it shows, because this is very much but as far as him measuring up to Romero and everybody else, no, there's no way. And yes, I'm aware that he brought us Candyman and some other things, but I have never heard Clive Barker mentioned in the top 5, maybe top 10, but he's going to be at the bottom of the list. Clive Barker, now, if you want to go writing-wise, he's made some pretty good stuff, because there's a lot of works that he wrote that have never been adapted that I think would make actually pretty good, films or TV shows. But no, when it comes to the big dogs in horror, the Carpenters, the Cravens, the Hoopers, the Romeros, he doesn't measure up. He's not the little engine that could. He never had a chance in hell. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah, Jeremy, what do you? Yeah, not a chance in hell. Because
damn it!
No pins in his
yes,
head.
I used that line on purpose. Thank you very much.
Yeah, damn it.
Yeah, Jeremy, what do you think? I mean, you're well versed in the ways of all horror and blood and gore. The names that I read off to you are very much the deities of horror films and of the genre. Is he, like I said, is he like the little brother of horror filmmakers, or does he not even really get to that level?
I'll tell you what I think. Tech needs to quit having all those good fucking like one-liners at the end that I need to keep following. I can't ever follow him when he does shit like that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you want to say little brother, I guess little brother that you give the game controller to and you take the batteries out, maybe. But I don't know. I mean, there's a reason why. I mean, say what you want. I guess I wouldn't have known either. Like Tech said, how many of these sequels there were, because I knew there were quite a few, and I have not seen all of them because sometimes I don't. As much as I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I don't really watch 2, 3, and especially 4 because we don't talk about that.
That one doesn't
okay. I know. 2's okay. I can handle 3, but like Last Generation.
3 is actually pretty good. I can defend 3.
Yeah.
2, the opening is that's we can talk about that.
Yeah, it's all right. And the remakes, they're pretty damn good. So this just seemed like a constant train of just I don't even know anymore. You could maybe argue the same thing with Nightmare on Elm Street, which we all know Wes Craven and Freddy Krueger. It's like he's definitely on the Mount Rushmore. So, but
I'd even say he's overrated too. But that's my controversial statement for today. So.
Oh no, that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, after about the third movie, I'm kind of just like, oh my god. I love Freddy Krueger. I love Robert Englund, but like, man, after a minute, it did kind of get old. It may have just kind of been the bad circumstance of, this was late 80s, so still kind of cranking out all these horror movies, but he's still stuck around. I mean, you show someone a picture of Pinhead, I mean, they know who it is. So it had a lasting effect, I would say, but I mean, I guess you're not really heavy hitting, and I could.
Well, Jeremy, let me ask you this real quick then. Do you think more people have seen a picture of Pinhead than have seen the film?
That's probably fair. Like, you probably know who it is. I mean, they probably haven't seen all 27 of these movies. So, if you do, I mean, more power to you. That's dedication. If it's your favorite one, I mean, awesome. But I don't. Yeah, I think that's a pretty big. That's a pretty offset ratio. I was gonna say it's like I said, it stuck around, but I'm not saying it's something that probably most people jump to. I guess is where I'm going with that. It's entertaining. Right. It's a hell of a concept. I mean, you got a pretty unique thing here. You got this Rubik's Cube puzzle box that you're like, oh yeah, I don't know what this is, or you probably shouldn't try to solve that. Because you're gonna open the door, the door that you didn't ask for. So,
yeah,
it's got potential. I would say it's got a lot of potential, but it's like I don't know. I haven't seen all of them, so I'm like I don't even really know. I'm not gonna claim to know either.
Yeah, I'm looking over his filmography, and this is just the films. I mean, there's other stuff that he's done that has been adapted by other people, obviously, but. He started off in the 70s with a bunch of stuff I've never heard of. Then he did Rawhead Rex, which I know I've heard of, but I've never actually seen. Then, of course,
I have seen that.
Yeah, he hits Pay Dirt in 87 with Hellraiser, and then that's kind of where he stuck, with the exception of like Candyman. He didn't really branch off from that until we got kind of deep until we got into the 2000s. He started to do some other stuff, and then, of course, he's one of the producers for the Hellraiser that came out last year on Hulu, which wasn't a terrible film. It was kind of a tale of two films. I thought the first half was a little slow. Second half, once they got into the house, I think it got better. It turned into a better Hellraiser movie. Before that, it was just kind of mid.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't look. I mean, Candyman is a real fun horror property. Another one where the bad guy is kind of perfectly cast. Hellraiser has certainly got its fans, and I think it's got its place in the horror genre. But I mean, if you look at guys like, Romero especially, the guy has done so much for so many years. It's really hard to say that he's not maybe the best. You look at Carpenter, who's given us a bunch. Craven, who basically he wakes up in the morning and shit's pretty much a winner. Raimi, who's had his successes. You could even put like Justin Lin in there before he was doing DC movies like Aquaman and stuff. He got his start doing stuff like doing a bunch of horror films. Guillermo del Toro.
James Wan.
James Wan, yeah. Guillermo del Toro is another guy who did a lot of horror movies early in his career that did very well.
Eli Roth.
Yeah, Eli Roth is another one. So Tech says he's probably number 10 if you're going a top 10, but I say that for everything he's done, I don't know that I would even really put him in the top 10 without, again, it's one of those, what day of the week is it? Is he 10? Is he 11? Is he 12? You can't deny his contribution to the genre, but it's really hard for me to say that he is at the level of some of those other names we've talked about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would agree to that. And just to clarify, whenever I say like 10 out of 10, I'm not saying that's the number where I think he is. I think a more accurate way I think he deserves an honorable mention more than he does a top 10 spot, I think is what I should have said. But either way, it's the same thing. It's all good.
Yeah, but let's move on now to kind of the cast of this movie. And, pretty decent casting, I think. Not a lot of huge names, but certainly some faces that you'll recognize, if not names. I'll go to you first, Jeremy. Did you think the movie was cast right, and who stood out to you in the movie?
I would say it was cast pretty well. I obviously wasn't around in the late 80s, so I don't really, I wouldn't know like, oh, are these people relatively unknown, or is it like maybe one or two? I would know big names, but it's something that like something I always liked about The Shining is that when they cast Wendy with Shelley Duvall, it's like she kind of, you're going against Jack Nicholson, which he's just Jack Nicholson, but like you could believe that Wendy was like this normal like mom. It's like she's got that look where it's like, yeah, you believe this is just this woman in peril. So like these people, like I said, I believe that this is this kind of weirdly estranged family that moves into some creepy house that had somebody probably squatting in it and doing God knows what with people. I wouldn't leave the photos laying on the ground, but whatever. That's just me. Maybe pocket those or something, man. I don't know.
He just kind of left those Polaroids just kind of laying around for any weirdo that walked in that house to see. I was like, maybe you want to put those away. That's
kind of ballsy. I'm not gonna lie, but no, it kind of gave it to me like it gave it that feel that I'm like, I could probably have seen these people on the street, and believe it. It's not like too distracting. Like I said, back with The Shining, like Jack Nicholson's just great, period. But I'm like, it's a little distracting because I'm like, well, it's you. You know what I mean? But, and as for who stood out, I think I want to give credit. I think even the girl who played the daughter, I think that was like her first movie as well.
Ashley Lawrence.
Yeah. So, that's a pretty banging job just to, come swinging right out of the gate with that. Especially being, a younger actress. So thought that was pretty cool. It didn't feel too out of place, and she doesn't, you don't see her right away, so she kind of comes in a little later after they establish the husband and the wife moving into the house, and then you see the daughter make a call to her dad, and it just kind of felt like it fit, and then the movie kind of takes off with her getting away from creepy Uncle Frank, who lives in the basement, lives in the attic, and does God knows what to people. But whatever it is, it's kind of squishy, and I'm glad we don't see it. But we just kind of hear it. That's that low budget working its magic. You see a little bit of I'm going to tear your skin, but then I'm going to cut away, and then shock face and gross noises. But I get the point. He's a little spinwalker.
Tex, what about you? What do you think of the cast of the film, and who jumped out at you as maybe carrying the film?
Well, and for the ones that don't know, this was another New World Pictures film, which means Roger Corman movie. And in the world of horror, that's a big thing. But what Roger is so good at, I think they only distributed this. I don't know how. Maybe producer distributor, maybe I don't know exactly how far they got. But this, just like all his other films, you get a lot. You get 2 or 3 interesting character kind of pieces in this. And for me, it's Ashley Lawrence's. I thought she was great in this. I think Ashley Lawrence is one of the more. For as small as her role is in this movie, she has earned a place in great Final Girls, but she never really gets it. Julia is, once she goes bad, she goes just the worst. She's bringing home these drunk guys from the bar, and it's like that one scene where she's already accepted, Frank, basically said, oh, well, would you live for me? Would you kill for me kind of thing, and the one the guy that she brings home that kind of pins her against the wall is like, you're not going to, basically just saying, you make sure that you're going to put out. I can't remember the exact line, but, you see like she goes from vulnerable to just like badass in like seconds. And then they go to the stairs and she starts, doing her best, Texas Chainsaw Hammer scene impression and bashing folks in the head with a claw hammer. But my God, when you talk about performances in this film, Frank, when you first see him, he's in the square with the candles, like the lighting effect. He's got those deep set in, like, sunken raccoon eyes of just like, even when he's not doing anything, you can see the deep depravity. Fun fact, that's not him under that makeup. That's a skinnier guy wearing that makeup. That's in that scene. I don't know if you know that or not.
Actor that is Frank in the flashbacks and stuff is a different guy than the one that's actually in most of the film.
Yeah. Originally, when they did that, they had Frank wearing the makeup, but the makeup was so thick it made his everything look bigger. So they had to cast a scrawnier guy to do that. But Frank, and I can't remember his name, but whenever he's wearing his brother's skin and he's going after his niece to, do naughty things to her, come to daddy, and he's got the switchblade. It's like, Jesus Christ, you just made Satan blush, like, good Lord, what are you doing over there? But like I said, it's a, for this, I personally think this is kind of a boring film. I'll be honest with you, but I think this film stuck around because it has those certain moments, like, just a few that I just mentioned. And, and like I said, Ashley Lawrence is Kirsty. She deserves more than she's got. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I really enjoy movies where I just kind of hate all the characters. It's kind of, it's like,
this is a good one for that.
We're all terrible people.
Sometimes you can't. It's great to have the characters you can relate to that you want to be successful or win the moment, and then have like the characters you're like, ooh, I don't like that person. That person's a bad person. But like every now and again, it's fun just to hate all the characters and just enjoy the ride that way, and not have to worry about relating to anybody. Obviously, I have trouble relating to like the Christy character because I'm not a teenage girl, and I've never had Cenobites in my house trying to wreck shop. But it's like, but for the most part, because Chris doesn't even come into the movie until like halfway, into the first act, into the second act. Yeah. She's not really there for most of the setup.
Hellraiser 2 is where Kirsty breaks out. Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. That's really her film, and the whole hospital and everything else. That's where she really shines. But I do agree.
But yeah, I remember I was like watching it recently, getting ready for this, and I was like, I see Frank at the door, and I'm like, that's classic douchebag. Just mannerisms.
Leaves his Polaroids all over the damn place.
It's like as soon as he walks into his brother's house, he's spitting game with his fiance. I'm like, that's the ultimate douchebaggery. And then it's like immediately the chick. Julia falls for it, and she makes the heel turn, and she instantly is somebody I don't like. It's like, God, it's like I just hate all these people. Like even the main character, Larry, played by Andrew Robinson, the dad. Even him, I'm just like, I know that he's the victim in all this. I know that he's.
But he's a fucking idiot, though.
But
he's a fucking cuck.
He's such a dope.
Yes.
This guy is so clueless for everything. And now, like I said, granted, none of this is his fault. He hasn't called in the Cenobites. He hasn't made his fiance screw his brother, and so on and so on. But I'm just like, God, you are such an idiot. I was like, oh, I want to kind of get behind that guy because I feel for him because we know he's going to be the ultimate victim. You know, 5 minutes into this movie that he's going to end up with his face peeled off. But I was just like, God, you're such an idiot. Well, I can't like you. I can't get behind you. So it's like every character except for Christy, except for Ashley Lawrence's character, except for her, I was just like, I just don't like any of you. And even the boyfriend guy that she
said the boyfriend too
early in the film, it's like
he's useless.
I have no attachment to this guy. He has no purpose in this film whatsoever, other than to show up at the very end and be like, "Come this way, come out the door," and then he walks out the door with her. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't walk in there and punch any of the Cenobites. He doesn't fight the bad guys to save her. He just shows up and was like, "Let's run away," and then they run away together at the end of the movie. I'm like, really? What? Why? Why you?
You're not punching Pinhead in the face. You're gonna come away looking like a fucking pincushion. But
that character's so useless. That I was watching on the last drive-in with Joe Bob Briggs on Shudder. They showed Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. Well, actually, they showed 1 and 2, but I'm particularly talking about 2 here. And they had Doug Bradley and Ashley Lawrence there. Joe Bob was interviewing. And Ashley Lawrence had even said, like whenever Clive had written, Hellraiser 2, they didn't even include the character in the script. He doesn't make the film because they wanted to focus more on her and her strength as the heroine, not relying on the boyfriend that you saw for 5 minutes and you don't even remember his name. So that's why, he means nothing in this franchise. He's literally a nobody. But,
just really pointless and stupid. But in reality, though, I got to give love to Ashley Lawrence of anybody else playing the daughter Christy. She ultimately carries this film through like its most important scenes. Like once the second act hits and she gets introduced in the film, it turns into her movie. Her dad is nowhere to be found in this entire movie. You just hate Frank and Julia, and they're going to end up dying or getting what's coming to them at some point. So really, it's really all her that's giving any emotion or any real connection to this movie from the fans' perspective, which is kind of good because her performance deserves the credit. But it's kind of bad because it makes the film as a whole a bit one-dimensional. You know what I mean? It takes away from it a bit. I feel like they could have made the fact that that Julia screwed Frank in the past. They could have made that like a later reveal, or they maybe could have not done it like that and had her slowly make that heel turn over the course of the movie because she gets seduced by the darkness or whatever. I think that would have fit more rather than just a very typical 80s storyline of, oh yeah, these two screwed, and she's got some weird obsession with him, and like as soon as the shit hits the fan, she's like, yes, I will kill for you, and I will bring you people to feed off of or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're moving something, okay, like let's say you're moving a mattress down the stairs, right, and you get the head of a nail that cuts your hand, are you going to keep pushing through till it digs through the whole thing, or are you going to go, ow, that hurt, and move it away? Just saying.
I personally would not would as I was moving into that house notice a giant nail sticking out of the fucking wall, so I would have just removed it.
Right.
That's right. That kind of guy. But yes, I agree. Now I would say that you need the theatric, you need the image for the movie. That's the reality.
Right.
At the same time, it's like, and I try not to do that to movies. Like I said, I try not to be like, oh, well, that would never happen.
Well, it's not even just that.
Still.
If I come to your house and say, "Hey Frank, can I have a beer?" and you throw a 6-pack at me, you have shook up every one of those drinks. I can't open those for at least 20 minutes. Those are going to have to sit because you just ruined a whole 6-pack. Not to mention, he's bringing a 6-pack to the movers that just hit on his teen daughter that just walked up the stairs. Like, really? And you let your brother bang out your old lady. There's no way he didn't know about it. He probably knew about it and just swept it under the rug, cut for the
we just got done saying how clueless he was, though. So maybe he didn't know.
I don't know, man. I don't.
Maybe he's just not very.
I don't know. Like that's the one thing I go back and forth on. Is he clueless or is he has no balls or backbone? You know what I mean? I don't know.
I think he's just clueless. It could be both. I think he's just clueless. Now, I don't know if it alludes to the real backstory in the later movies. I haven't seen them all, to be honest. But I mean,
I
just think he's clueless. I think he's one of those guys that's just like, I go to work every day and I come home to my wife and child and la di da, and he's just completely fucking just not on board with anything.
Right.
But let's move on now to the plot. I mean, obviously, Frank gets mixed up in some shit. He goes around and through whatever osmosis, finds this box that's supposed to connect him to God or whatever the hell it is. And instead it ends up calling down the Cenobites and getting him into that shit. I'll go to you first, Tech. What did you think of the plot of the film? Was it a great plot or was there something missing?
Well, the plot is very interesting. Basically what Frank is he's very much into the BDSM, the bondage, all of the pleasures and pain. I mean, pleasure and pain. This franchise could have been called Pleasure and Pain, which actually might have been kind of cool. But, he's basically done everything on Earth that he can get a hold of. And, he hears word about this box. It's the Lament Configuration is the name of it. And it's basically a gateway to all pleasures and pain. That's the only reason that he even opens it. He's not opening it trying to find a guy with, screws sticking out of his dome to, rip his flesh apart. He's looking for the ultimate pleasure. And for some people, that pain is pleasure. There's a lot of people that are into that. And, unfortunately, he gets, loses some weight for his troubles and, he's going to go where dead people now. So, I mean, other than that, it's pretty basic. I mean, I would have loved to have seen more of Frank's story while he had his skin on. I didn't think this had enough Frank in it personally, but it worked for what it is. It's an '80s Roger Corman produced horror film. You're not, I've said it on here 1,000 times, but you're not making Shakespeare here. You need just enough plot to get you from scene to scene. Honestly, in most of his films, and it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Jeremy, how about you? What do you think of the plot of the film? Is there anything you might have changed?
Yeah, I would have maybe had the mom kind of fucking hit the brakes a little bit. She was kind of just like, oh, yeah, okay, sure. That was fucking fast. You don't want to think about it first a little bit? No? Okay. I mean, at least
I do love when she gets stabbed in the throat, though. That is so much fun.
At least she kind of not thought about it. At least she kind of was, freaked out by it initially. Like, oh, what the hell is this, drippy looking fucker in my, attic? What's he doing here? That right there is a horrifying shot. That's kind of, you know what that is right there? That is me on a fucking 1 a.m. in a hot night, and I'm just fucking staring at this last group like, get the fuck out. I'm done with you.
Well, since that you have to ask the question, are you covered in 5 pounds of KY jelly like he was at 1 a.m. in a haunted house?
Dude, I don't know what I'm covered in at 1 in the morning at that point. Like, it's... I don't know anymore, man. I probably grabbed a thing of blood in the middle of the night, dumped that on me. It was probably kerosene, blood, good. And people were wet.
No, he saves the KY jelly for the rat party when the season's over.
Right, yeah.
The last night is always shirtless night, so I'll let you,
there you go.
Let that sink in. No. There's a lot of the body spray paints. I just draw a little stupid smiley face on my chest and run around, honestly. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. It maybe slow. I get it. We kind of want to get to the point. It's not really a long movie, and it is kind of just a basic, horror movie plot. Like I said before, I think this has a lot of potential because, like, it is kind of a Pandora's box of, like, there's so many ways this could go, and it does really be hanging at the end, like, oh, what's next? What else is in there? What else could happen? Like, possibilities are kind of endless. So I'm like, well, this was kind of just opening the door a little bit and kind of peeking in.
Right.
So,
well,
I don't know. It works, and it, Because I hate when I say this all the time that I'm like, I've seen a movie before. Like, I get it. The dad's fucking stupid. I'm like, oh, he's gonna die. I know these two idiots are gonna get what's coming to him too, and I'm like, yeah, this daughter's probably gonna be I don't say basic, but just kind of a final girl by the end. But I like the premise. It is different. I mean, I wouldn't expect your creepy Uncle Frank to be in your basement not wearing any skin. And the only way to do that, is just to keep feeding the beast, I suppose. But it just, I don't know. It's weird how fast she just kind of accepted that and was just like, oh yeah, you're definitely still attractive because you have no skin this time. That's, we're pleasures of the flesh, lady. I mean, he doesn't have any though. Like, I don't know. Like you said, that wasn't even the actual, Frank that we saw. It was a different actor. So I'm just like, how do you know that's him? That could be some fucking weirdo that's, you saw the Polaroids in the attic. You don't know.
I got a feeling Uncle Frank is probably not the only dude that's been inside of her lately, if you know what I'm saying, and I think you do. But, it is what it is. So.
There's more in that Pandora's box for sure. Man. She was way too efficient at that shit, too. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't care how. No. There's no way in hell she sat there and was just like, all right, we just reeling them in one by one. It's a good day for fishing. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if that speaks more to like her or the guys at that point. I don't know.
Yeah, you're talking about picking up guys at a bar in the 80s. I mean, how hard is it for any chick to
Right.
I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't there. I don't know. So maybe I don't understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I thought the plot. Look, I love the idea of the Cenobites of this box that calls them down because these people are drawn by the temptation of more pleasure and more pain than they could ever get in an earthbound way. I love the concept. Again, the execution not always great in this movie, but I think it's a great concept and a killer plot. I think it's a pretty cool story. It's one that certainly could feed several sequels. I mean, because I would have done it more in an anthology kind of way rather than having like any character kind of carry over from one movie to the next. Even Ashley Lawrence's character, I would like to see like different people get the box in different situations. So like in the I don't know if you guys watched the 2022 Hellraiser that came out on Hulu, but in that one, it kind of stumbled in the hands of this girl who gets drawn, ends up in the house of this super rich guy who basically was just like, he did kind of what Frank did. He was just like, I just want this crazy ass experience, and it kind of turned him into a almost Cenobite. And I guess he kind of was supposed to do kind of what Ashley Lawrence's character did in this movie. He's trying to give them somebody else so that they'll set him free because now he's feeling way too much pain and it's not pleasurable anymore. So I would like it to have been an anthology thing as opposed to anybody carrying over and see people in different situations. So you see like this guy who's just a douchebag and is on the hunt for the thrill. Then maybe next time you see like a housewife who's got a good life going on, but she wants that one extra thing and her husband won't give it to her. So she hears about this thing and tries to find it. And then maybe later on, it's just some trailer park trash. I mean, whoever, it could be anybody. I'm
pretty sure that kind of happens though. I think one of the secret sequels is Hellraiser in Space. Now that's one I haven't seen, but I'm like 50% sure that's one of them. So, there's a lot of these. Technically Ashley is in 2, and I think she comes back later on as well. Not 100% sure. Like I said, I'm not for as much as I know about Hellraiser. I'm not getting into all those direct videos bullshit because they're just horrible movies. But you talked about the remake of it. They kind of redid the whole lament configuration and how every time it conforms differently, they kind of changed the rules from what the original was. Like each version of the configuration required a sacrifice. That's why the rich guy was bringing in these drug addicts and homeless people and whatever. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, just like showed people from different walks of life and how these people
Yeah.
into shit.
Yeah.
Let's see. It says that she is in obviously Hellraiser. Chrissy's in Hellraiser. She's in Hellraiser 2. We'll talk about that. She has what's called a cameo appearance in Hellraiser 3 and several videos taken from whatever institute in there.
Yeah.
And she returns in the 6th installment of the Hellraiser series, Hellraiser Hellseeker, where she has married a man named Trevor Gooden, and supposedly died in a car crash, which Trevor has incurred amnesia, blah, blah, blah. So she's in that one. And she is one of the characters in the Hellbound Heart in the book that it's all based on. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a good story. I just would have handled it differently. You know what I mean? I would have, from movie to movie, I would have made it more of an anthology thing and not follow the same people. I also would have, I wouldn't have made her turn heel so easily, so quickly. I mean, I would have saved that reveal for later on.
I was gonna say, didn't
that? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no! Didn't Nightmare on Elm Street kind of do that? Like we're talking about anthology. I'm like, it is different people that are having this experience with Freddy Krueger, right? But you did have Nancy come back at some point, so it is still kind of that same.
Yeah, 1, 3, and 5.
Yeah, because she came back for a few of them, but it is kind of anthology-ish in a way. And
I wouldn't say anthology because technically Freddy's going after all of the Elm Street kids. Like, is it Elm Street 5 where it's the last of the Elm Street kids, and then 6, the last one is there's one Elm Street kid left, but that he lets that kid leave to go to the next town because Springwood doesn't have any more children anymore because he's basically killed them all. So I think that's how the breaks down or something. It's been a while since I've watched all the Elm Street movies. I'd actually like to sit down and do a rewatch of them, but once you get into sequelitis, it gets bad. You know what I mean?
It did start to blend together a little bit. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just enjoying the wacky off the wall fucking kills. That's all I was kind of enjoying at that point. I'm like, I don't really know what's going on. Okay, Nancy's back. Now we're in this weird therapy group where we're all like, yeah, we understand how this dream world works. We're gonna go kick Freddy's ass. I'm like, okay, what? Sure. Just fight Jason already. God damn. That's what I was trying to get to. I was trying to get to that point. Like, I don't care. Just fight each other. Damn it.
Hey, I like Freddy versus Jason. It is what it is.
It's like bad, but it's just so good.
It's so bad that it's good.
It's so good.
Oh, yeah.
I can't. That's a good movie.
Yeah, shout out to Dark Helmet in the chat. All rise in the presence of Dark Helmet, as Jeremy said. He thinks it's a great film. I agree. What's up, Dark Helmet? Good to see you here. See, Dr. Nick. He says, sorry he's late. It's good, Nick, as long as you're here. He said he loves Hellraiser. Again, a entertaining movie. Not the best horror movie, entertaining. He says he wants Casey to find the box so that he can get hooked in the bum.
Yeah, but what I
No.
I don't know.
We've all seen Casey play video games. He plays till he can't figure it out, and then he quits. There's no way he would ever solve the lament configuration. He'd give up before he got there. So
yeah, I get my back blown out from trying to carry his ass through the whole game. That's man. Sounds like a skill issue.
Casey looked at it, I think it was a GameCube. He's like, where do I plug this thing in at?
Oh, that'd be great. We just go to his house and just prank him, just paint his GameCube look like a fucking box.
It's not wrestling. But let's talk about. I mean, look, you debate this film and this franchise's place in the horror genre. You can debate Clive Barker and his place in the horror genre, but one of the things you can't debate is the Cenobites. There's some of the cooler visuals. There's some of the darkest, weirdest, most unique villains in horror. I'll go to you first, Jeremy. Are the Cenobites kind of underrated in horror, in the horror genre, because this franchise has not been as successful as the Halloweens and the Friday the 13th and so on and so on?
Well, they also haven't. Well, I didn't see the new ones, but I don't know if it's a 40-year sequel that's going to wreck the entire thing. But maybe that's.
Don't say the new one sucks, dude. It's
all right. Well,
it's whatever.
No,
I'll see it if you want, but it's
as much as that one, I mean, they are very. I mean, just looking at those three, they're just three very unique looking beings. Obviously,
Pinhead, Shagger, and the Butterball.
Yeah, with Pinhead in the center. And this wild chick here that I'm surprised.
I can't remember her name. That's the one name that I can't remember. I know all the others, but I can't remember her.
She got a very distinct neck, and I didn't want to say it, but we.
Oh, it's very yeah.
We know what the Cenobites are about. I'm just saying. I'm not gonna say it. No, they're very cool.
I'm not sure you want to put that in there, but it's available.
No,
okay.
I'm not trying to seek out the box or shit like that. I'm good. That's so, and they're very unique. And like I said, it's weird that you don't see more of them because I was more tied to more interested in seeing like, oh my god, what are these people or whatever he said, like angels to some, demons to others. Like what are they? Like what's their whole thing? Like where they come from? And like you open that box, and I guess it's nice to not see it all, but it was kind of like I wanted to see like a little more of it because I'm like, oh shit, you're building these people up that like they are pretty intimidating because he said, when Christy says, oh yeah, like Uncle Frank got away from you, and he's basically like no one escapes us. I'm like, well, he kind of did, but you had to burst burst your balloon there, buddy. But I think he kind of did. But I mean, yeah, the presence they have is kind of wild. Even though that one looks, I mean, this came out before, but it looks scarily just like Nemesis from Resident Evil. But
you're talking about Chatterer with the teeth? Yeah, that's Chatterer. Yeah, on the left there.
Yeah, he looks like Nemesis, which I mean, I love Nemesis from Resident Evil, so that's why I was like, I like his design, and they're cool. But I was gonna say that like, if it's not part of your trivia, like how long do you actually even see the Cenobites, let alone Pinhead in this movie? That's not still the part that you were, that you still remember. So again, I didn't see the other 187 sequels, so I don't know how much more they're in it, but that's what the number is going to keep going up because I don't know. But I guess it's cool that, they have that effect, because that's what I was saying. That's what I was interested in. So I don't know. They're unique, and I can give them credit for that. And props to whoever wore that damn outfit, because I don't know if I'd be sitting there with like some acupuncture coming out of my face. But trust me, I haunt act and I suffer for the art.
Doug Bradley.
Actually, the chattering Cenobite is how they're listed on IMDb for the name. The one on the far right is Butterball Cenobite. Yeah. And then, of course, you have Pinhead, who in this film was just called Lead Cenobite. And then, of course, the female just referred to as female Cenobite in the cast list, but it's actually played by Grace Kirby, who was a close friend or even a relative of Clive Barker, and she declined to come back for the sequel, even though he asked her because she didn't want to go through the makeup. So that's why somebody else.
That's fair. That's fair.
Well, he doesn't get called Pinhead till I think 2. I could have swore he was called Hell Priest because that's another one of his nicknames. I thought he was credited as Hell Priest in this first one.
That's Wikipedia for what it's worth. Let me go to the IMDb page real quick to see how they have.
I could have sworn because the name Pinhead was like a nickname that he was given later on. He wasn't called Pinhead in the first movie.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he wasn't called Pinhead.
Yeah,
he was. I'm pretty sure he was called Hell Priest in this one.
I can't believe that. Let me see.
iPad works differently than it does.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. There's so much there's so much to this franchise. I mean, while Frank's looking that up, I'll go ahead and go. But the Cenobites are great character design. But once again, go back to where we were in '87. You had Michael Myers starting things off, and then you had Jason and Freddy come along, bringing up the train. You had Leatherface doing his thing lightly. So you had a bunch of slasher type characters. Then you have, the Hell Priest, Pinhead comes along, and he's not a gore slasher. Now he does become that in Hellraiser 3. They completely divert what the character was intended to be and turn him into another Freddy Krueger and whatever. But the Sinhead, are really good looking characters, but they don't get used enough. This is another one of those things where and there's a lot of these in the 80s. Oh, that's a really cool creature design, like that worm thing from Brain Damage, but you don't really get enough of it. Or there's just a laundry list of these things that it looks good, but in reality, it's eh. And that's why I asked Jeremy earlier about, do you think more people have seen the picture of Pinhead than have seen the film? Because, hey,
Probably.
artwork of him looks really cool on a movie poster or a T-shirt or an action figure. But when you watch the film, I'd be willing to bet you get less Pinhead in this than you got Pennywise in the original It. And we talked about that last week. So I think it works great in function, or it looks great artistically, but functionally, I don't think it works as well because 99% of this film is based on, a family quarrel. This is basically like a Lifetime film with a little bit of horror thrown into it when you really go back and watch it. I think it's honestly kind of a boring film. I'll be real honest with you. Whenever I rewatched this last week because I knew we were going to do this week, I had to go back and watch it because it put me to sleep and I was fully awake. And just all cards on the table. I'm not a Hellraiser guy, but I like, I give my all when I'm going to review something. And of course, I knew, through the years of osmosis of absorbing horror knowledge. But it's, the Cenobites themselves, they're just, maybe it was a money thing. Roger Corman was famous for not putting a lot of money in the movies. Maybe that's why you don't get as much in this film. I don't know. I wasn't there. But, it is what it is. It's, it's memorable, but there's a reason why it's not up there with the big guys. So, who knows?
Good.
Well, I really like the Cenobites. I think they're a lot of fun to watch. I think there's a ton of potential. You're right. I don't think they were used quite enough in this. I might have shown them earlier in the film and then kind of let the image stew in the viewer's mind for a little while for the rest of the first act and the second act before they come back into the fray and become a bigger part of the story. I think that would have built up a lot because I feel like that would have made the viewer say, when am I going to see these things again? When is it going to come? When is it going to come, and build some of that tension a little bit better? But that's not really how they made movies in the 80s. Sometimes they kind of made terrible decisions. But that's how I would have done it. But again, I like the fact that they leaned on a little more in later sequels. But for this movie, I think giving them a take, especially because of the look, and I agree with what you say, Tex, there is a look to Pinhead that is very unique and odd. And it's like, Mike Myers, for as great as he is, Mount Rushmore, he's just walking around in a pair of overalls and a mask. It's not really
a mask.
It's like a Marvel. it's like a Marvel disguise. It's like the sunglasses and the dark hat and the hoodie, and you can hide in a Marvel movie. It's same thing with Jason Voorhees. Right. It's like, yeah, he's great. He's on Mount Rushmore, but he's just a guy walking around in hoodies and a mask. It's like Freddy's got a bit of a unique look, but he's got the burn scars and like the Christmassy sweater.
Who am I? Oh, yeah. You have no idea.
Where did
you have no idea who I am right now?
But
who is it? Who is this new guy on the string?
He's a very unique looking person, and I feel like you should have played off that a little bit. I don't think they did it quite right. Now, granted, movies were made a lot differently 112 when this movie came out, but still, I think looking at it through the way I watch movies today and what I like and what seems to work that I've seen, that's how I would have done it. But yeah, I think the Cenobites are actually fantastic. One of the things I do notice from the newer one that came out last year is they did use the Cenobites a lot more. They didn't just come in like at the end of the movie.
They did.
They were shown early. They were shown kind of often in the first half of the movie. The first half of the movie was a lot of character development, which I thought was a little much. I don't think we needed quite that much. Like I said, once they get into the house and the Cenobites are there, and you see what happened to the guy and his chest and all that, the whole mechanism that's already inside his body. That's where the movie really got good and turned into much more of a more of a horror flick and not just kind of a drama. It was a little too dramatic the first half. But once you got into the Cenobites, and especially you got several of them in the movie, several new looking Cenobites that were pretty wild. But yeah, I think they're underrated. They're underrated horror villains. I don't think they've ever really gotten the treatment that that they deserve. I mean, if you could have put them into the hands of somebody like we talked about earlier, like the Carpenter, the Cravens, the Raimis, guys like that who have some more modern sensibilities, I think you could turn the Cenobites into something really, really cool. And they are something really, really cool. But I just don't think they've achieved their full potential, especially considering that, like Tech said, of the 12 films they've made, 9 or 10 of them have gone straight to the discount bin at Walmart. They never really got the attention. They never got the theatrical release. Yeah. They were never given a chance to really shine, so they haven't had opportunities past the second, maybe third movie to really build into great villains. You know what I mean? But talking about the Cenobites, let's just the makeup and effects of this movie at all. I mean, I'll go to you. I'll go to you first, Tex, because Jeremy, being the expert, is probably going to have plenty to say about some of the stuff.
Oh yeah, he knows.
I'm over here bouncing in my chair. I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think of the overall effects? I mean, interesting story, interesting characters. The effects really had to hit in this movie for all of it to kind of come together. Do you think that it worked in this movie?
Well, for all that I crap on Hellraiser for being a less than franchise, I cannot shit upon the effects in this film. When you go back and watch that scene of Frank like Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen style, like kind of putting himself back together when he's like his skeleton is like coming up from the floor or whatever. That shot was done like melted wax and everything else. All of this stuff is practical. Like the only effect in this movie that's not practical is when Kirsty at the end does that little, points the box at him and they get somehow like digitally removed or something. That's weird. I don't know, but it is what it is. But no, that shot where Frank is rebuilding himself skeletal is just incredible. And then, you get to see different levels of Frank, here's the skeleton, here's the muscular structure, here's the nervous systems and the bloods and like that right there. Like, that could be Freddy Krueger for all you need to know. Like, put a red and green sweater and a hat on that guy, you got Freddy Krueger right there. It's, the Clive Barker got the effects perfect in this movie. And, for everything that doesn't work in this movie, the effects still hold up to this day. That, we go back to, The Howling as something from the 80s, so many good effects practical done. This has to be up there with them. I do agree.
Yeah, I'm going to give my thoughts real quick, then I'm going to let Jeremy kind of break this down like Madden breaking down his zone defense.
We need to give him a pen so you can write on the screen.
Start drawing X's and O's all over the fucking screen.
Yeah. You see, first you got the veins over here, boom. Then you got the skin over here, boom. But
and make sure you mention Brett Favre 4 times.
You could go all the way.
Yeah, who did great special effects? Brett Favre. but yeah, I'm with Tex. I mean, you can't shit on the effects of this movie at all. I mean, not the looks of the Cenobites. I think were really cool. I like the fact that like one of them, the one on the left, the Chatter one, looks like his chest is kind of open, kind of a bit of the same effect on Pinhead. But I love the whole throat being open right here, like a tracheotomy or something. I think that was really interesting. But I mean, when you get to this stuff with Frank, I mean, it's like Tex was saying, like the way that his body just kind of reanimates from whatever was left of his heart beneath the baseboards of the attic, eventually getting to where you're seeing like the veins and everything before his skin starts to grow back over all the meat and everything, and then just like this is actually a really cool look. And I like that Tex mentions Freddy because that is kind of a Freddy look in this movie coming out in 1987.
It looks just like it.
Yeah, where Freddy was still very much a big part of the film zeitgeist in the 80s. It was a really cool look, and yes, it's practical, and yes, you kind of look at this shot, and you're like, you just put some prosthetics on him, and then you sprayed it with some red goo, and I'm like, yeah, but look at how that comes across on camera. I mean, some of the best effects are some shit that was put together with some crap that you found in the local grocery store. I mean, that's one of the things about great horror, especially some of the stuff from the 70s and 80s. Is they were on a but they had really, really hard to make things look good. And when it worked out great. I love the effects. The makeup and stuff was fantastic. Some of the stuff, like when what's her name? When the cheating wife bitch gets stabbed, I was like, that was kind of generic. kind of seen that in a million 80s movies. It's just whatever. Obviously, the knife blade is like pushing back in the knife, and there's like some bag of blood that was ripped open. She's not bleeding right. That's what I was thinking when I was watching the video. Like, nobody bleeds like that when they get stabbed. But yeah, I can't knock the effects of this at all in the makeup, especially the stuff on Frank. I mean, he was one of the coolest looking effects. Of the 80s to me. I mean, it's just really cool the way that they did all that stuff. And now I'll just give the floor over to the expert Jeremy. I mean, tear this thing apart. What did you like? What did you not like? Is there anything in this that you would have done differently?
No, like I know, like we talked about, obviously you get stabbed in a movie. Well, it's like you don't really have to. You get it. Retractable knife, blood, blah, and just scene. Who cares? Like we know that's not how it works. We don't really care. I know that like a lot of the effects, and again, this is still practical effect era of movies, which I can really appreciate because man, it's an art form, and it sucks that we don't really do it as much anymore. But yeah, like you said, when it's got to hit, and it's got to hit, and I'm like, I can tell a lot of this love and care went, like especially Frank's look. Because I mean, not to use the pun, but there's a lot of layers to this, and it's cool to see it little by little. Like that is still, I every time you pull that up, I'm like, that's haunting as shit. Like that upward angle, that look he has too. Like the guy doing in the suit, or not a suit real, I guess the 20 gallons of blood and crap he put on his face, but like he still has this terrifying presence, even though he's in a slightly stained button-down shirt, but he's fucking looking at you right through your fucking soul like that. I mean, holy crap, dude. It feels like gross. It feels icky because like it's you can see it right there shining off of the lights. It really feels like somebody is being put together, and seeing the whole, I guess like Tex was saying, like that's some shit like straight out of like The Thing. If you want to go back to John Carpenter, like that monster fucking coming out of the guy, the chest opening up, you know what I mean? That's some shit like that. I'm like, I know it's practical, but I'm like, some of them, again, they don't have that love and care where it just looks a little too goofy, where I'm like, that doesn't work. But I was thinking like that, no, him crawling around like that and the 30 gallons of KY jelly coming off the bones and shit, But like,
he had people opening doors for him because he couldn't open a goddamn thing with his fucking hand. There ain't no fucking way.
We had wet floor signs there all damn week. It was a nightmare. Going to that one, it's like he doesn't even have like an ear. You can see like his the bones from his skull still sticking out, and you got like veins now. And I like that he mentions it too, like where he's like, okay, I can feel again, or this is starting. It's like now he's starting to get into, now I can feel pain again. It's like, okay, we need to hurry because now we need to get this shit done. Because, I mean, you are just walking around. Imagine if you were just basically filleted alive of your skin. I mean, hang
on, wait a minute. Julia has sex with Frank without his skin. We know the dick is mainly flesh and like, it's meat. What? It's not like bone and carp. Like,
well, he's got veins. Well, no, he's got veins back here, so he's got blood flow. I mean, whatever. That's all that counts.
That's where goes.
I don't know.
Well, come on. You can't tell me you didn't look at that scene and go, wait a minute, you don't have skin, so how are you doing this? Like, the question is begged to be asked.
Doing the work.
I can 100% tell you that is not what I was thinking as I was watching that scene.
Okay, maybe I'm the one. That's fine. I'll be the guy, whatever. Just saying, maybe maybe, if this was a movie sins ding dang, that dude doesn't have a dick right now. That's all I'm saying. So it is what it is, but putting it out there.
I don't know. Like I said, I know I'm like, I know this is an 80s movie, and damn it, every once in a while, like it turns into, they're having sex again. Okay, thanks. Oh, now we're back to the movie.
All right.
Like, hold on, wait a sec. Let me recover. Holy shit. Wait a minute. No, it works, and it's also a credit to the guy, like I said, who's in the suit playing Frank. Being it's two different actors, but I'm like, man, I can believe it's this just really sleazy douchebaggy guy who's, I don't think he cares how many layers of skin he has. Obviously, as long as you can swing it, man, swing for the fences, I guess. I don't know.
Apparently.
I think, like my mom said, like it looks like it would be hard to recreate. I'm like, maybe, because like, man, that's a lot of time. Like I said, a lot of the care and budget and shit went into that. Because like, if you want something to hit, your monster's got to hit, you know.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, with the Cenobites, I appreciate that you made each one look unique and there's something about them that you're like, oh, you know which one is which. You know what I mean? They all have their own, you know, cool look to them. So the creativity alone, man, that's the cool part. I don't know if and like I said, that's a lot of time in a makeup chair. I don't know if I'd sit there for 8 hours before shift and then sitting in the damn chair just getting, because I hate the sticky, the thick scabby blood, because it just feels sticky. I imagine that's what that looks like to me, and I'm like, that shit just makes me crawl because I don't like the way it feels. But I know I said suffer for the art. I don't know. I've done it before, but man, sometimes
it's a good movie for suffering. I mean, that's kind of Pinhead's whole thing, right? So, you know,
yeah,
it is what it is.
Sometimes it does suck, but just pulling that shit off, yeah.
Well, let's get into some trivia now. I did not find as much good trivia as I was hoping to. I mean, this movie, like I said, it came out 112 years ago. I figured that by now some tidbits would have come out. There wasn't as much as I wanted, but I did manage to find a few good ones. Let's see. The Chatter and the Butterball Cenobites had dialogue in the original script. However, when their makeup made coherent speech impossible, their lines were given to the female Cenobite, and especially Pinhead, which helped to cement his reputation as the film's trademark character.
See,
Jeremy, you're laughing.
No, there's because, like, again, my haunt shit kicked in. I'm like, see, there's a reason. Wearing a full mask, sometimes, like, it doesn't necessarily work, especially when you're trying to have dialogue. Because, like, I mean, here, because I casually just have this on my table right here. You know, like this thing that I was wearing last week. You know what I mean? It's got a mouth hole. It's got, you know, but however, I wouldn't speak if I had this on, because also you got, you know, music going on. You got customers screaming. You got other stuff going on. No one's going to hear you or understand you when you have like a full mask on. So it kind of sucks. And we go to haunts too. I get worried. I'm like, yeah, that looks really cool. That's a great mask. But I'm like, and I get it. You're also, groups are coming through and you're just going through your, you know, your lines. And I'm sitting there like, what the hell did you just say? I mean, it could have been something important. The next room could be a fucking locked room. And now we're like, oh, the key's somewhere over the rainbow. And I'm like, what's that mean? I didn't hear him. You know what I mean? So I get it. It looks cool and it sucks that happened. But if you're going to have something, make sure it's something you can still coherently talk in. It's a struggle. And I'm not like trying to, you know, be mean. I'm just saying it's funny that happens. And I understand why. That's why I wear half masks. Because I talk a lot in my job. So I'm like, I have this lower half of my head. It's open. I put makeup on it, but like the mask stays, you know, here. It's rough. It's hard to do that. Trust me.
Chatterer, I mean, technically he just, you know, teeth. He could be chewer as well because his teeth just go up and down the whole damn time you see him. Like he kind of got dirty in the remake, like. You know, cause like I forget how many sacrifices they had to have. Somehow Chatterer finds himself as one of the sacrifices. Like, I think he's probably like, obviously Pinhead is the guy, right? You know, the Hell Priest. He's the one everybody knows. I think Chatterer is scarier looking than Pinhead, though. I've always thought he looked cooler. Yeah. But I mean, and of course, yeah, somebody that made Resident Evil said, "Ooh, that design looks really cool. I'm going to create a character based off of that." Because that's Nemesis 2.8. Take that head and on a monster body and put a rocket launcher in his hand, you have Nemesis. That's the same thing.
It's straight up Nemesis.
It's exactly the same thing. It's somebody from Resident Evil was a big Hellraiser guy. That's all I know. And, you know, I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, what's Butterball going to say? Butterball's not even really he's not really an intimidating character. He's, oh, I'm going to eat you. Is he going to be the fat bastard of the Cenobites? I mean, is that what he's going to be? I don't know. You know, it's probably best to give the lines to Doug Bradley with the voice and the, you know, whatever.
That's what I was going to say with the mask. Like, you can look cool, but I'm like, that's like what I do when I wear something that's over my whole face. I don't I don't speak.
Yeah.
I just look and I do like movements and body languages, and I don't have to speak. All I gotta do is just like look at somebody and like they get it, and then I get like shrugs or I get like little head tilts and stuff like that, or I just point, So it works. Just I don't know.
Well,
Don't try to have whole lines.
Well, yeah, it occurs to me that as I was reading some of the stuff about this movie, they had to dub over some of the dialogue of one of the characters. I forget which one, because he had such a heavy British accent that the dialogue wasn't always clear.
Well,
and I'm thinking to myself, well, can't you just have like the chatter just move his teeth up and down, and then like have somebody dub in at least a couple pieces of dialogue? I mean, now maybe they didn't realize till after the fact they were going to do that, dub over for this one actor, but it's like it wasn't like overdubbing was a new thing even in the 80s. They've been doing it almost since films went to talkies. So I mean, why not go ahead and do that if you really wanted to?
Well, what the reason for that is
there's Nemesis.
There's Nemesis.
You don't really need to focus, but yeah, it's basically the same thing.
The reason why that one actor had to get his lines redubbed. Okay, when you watch this film, this obviously takes place overseas in England somewhere. But once New World Pictures got involved, Roger Corman said, hey, if you base this in America, it's going to do better. That's why you have the black guy wearing the Yankees hat. That's why you have a couple little America things thrown into it. It's like a mix of Europe and America. But they had some of the lines redid, all this other stuff, because, I mean, obviously this is not Brooklyn or anywhere in New York where they place it in the film. Originally it was in England, but, that was a Roger Corman contribution to the redubbing of lines and stuff.
Let's see. Another piece of trivia is, many viewers have commented about the poor quality of the effects at the end of the movie. Clive Barker has explained that due to a very limited budget, there was no money left to have the effects done professionally after principal filming was finished. Instead, Barker and a, quote, Greek guy animated the scenes by hand over a single weekend. Barker has also commented that a Greek guy. It's actually in quotations when I looked this up. A Greek guy.
I love how he specifies which ethnicity he was. He wants you to know his
damn name, but he knew where he was from.
Animated these scenes by hand over a single weekend. Barker has also commented that he thinks the effects turned out pretty well considering the amount of alcohol the two consumed over that weekend.
I believe it.
He's like, we just got drunk and did some special effects, whatever.
Hey, why not?
As a fellow fan of the spirits, I guess you could say, I understand it. Considering I was hammered, it was all right. I've said that a few times with house projects.
It looks great. What about you? Here, hold my beer. I want to put more. I want to take his eyes out. Hold on. That looks awesome.
Right.
There's a Greek alcohol called Uso, I think it is. I'll have to look it up again. But
I've never had it.
You know how like they have rice wine sake in Japan, and different regions of the world have their kind of unique brand of alcohol. The Greeks have something called Uso that I've never had, and I'm really tempted to try a bottle of it after reading this because I've seen it on like a couple different TV shows and stuff, and I keep thinking to myself, I should try to go online and find a bottle of this to see if it's any good. But yeah,
oh god.
So maybe he was drinking that.
All I know is don't drink heavily whiskey and then expect level measurements on house projects on anything because it all ends up like this way and crossway. Like it does not. It don't. You have to redo a lot of work. That's all I'm saying.
See now I'm gonna go there. I was gonna say don't drink whiskey and expect level, and I thought you were going somewhere else. I'm like, yeah, it is gonna be going this way, and this way. Trust me, I know.
Oh no, we're not. No, different thing.
It would definitely turn whatever you're doing into some kind of abstract art. But
100%. Yeah.
Also, when Clive Barker first showed the film to his mother, she cried tears of joy upon seeing her son's name in the opening credits. I would imagine, be a proud mother.
That's cool.
He leaned over and whispered that would be the happiest she would be for the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
You haven't seen it yet, Mom. You don't know what you're about to get into here.
I know you're proud of me, Mom, but in about 45 minutes, when
you might think differently of me.
Or even really when she gets up in the room and finds the pictures, that's where my mom would look at him and be like, "The fuck did you do?" I was like, "Just the character thing. That's the character thing. I promise."
Trust the process. Trust the art. Hold on. Hear me out.
There was one time in my entire life, my mother went with me to a horror film. That was to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre in 2003, and the whole time, once the scary stuff started, she spent the rest of the movie with her hands like this because she could not handle the, just the awesomeness that was going on screen. But now, if I were to ever make a film, I might give my mother like a Cliff Notes version of like, oh, I don't want to make you watch the whole thing, Mom. Here's just the happy parts, and then just give her like the 5-minute rough cut.
There is no happy part in Texas Chainsaw, damn it. Hey, you know what? Shout out to Greg Nicotero, though. Greg Nicotero did a good job on that movie in 2003, man. That shot of going through the girl's like her head, and she just blew her fucking brains out, and it goes through the van, and her head just.
Whenever Sheriff Hoyt, is groping that dead girl, he seems very happy. That's a very happy scene. I don't know what you're talking about. So it's all good.
That's because it's Arlie Ermy. That's why. Like it's Gunny, damn it. He's just the way he is.
That was great.
Let's see. Doug Bradley. This could have been a very different movie. Doug Bradley was originally offered a choice of roles between one of the mattress movers and the lead Cenobite. He nearly turned down the lead Cenobite role as he originally thought it was important that, as a new film actor at the time, that audiences should see his face. Boy, talk about what could have been.
Well, to be fair, even in that, Hell Priest Pinhead makeup, much like Tim Curry's Pennywise, most of the makeup effects are elsewhere. Most of this is him. Now, obviously, they put some on the cheeks and the nose to put the pin in, but he could emote pretty well through that makeup. It's not like it's a full latex mask that's just covering him. They went pretty easy on that part of it.
I'd be so afraid to move around in that thing. That's just my issue.
I just want to.
Well, to be fair, Pinhead doesn't move very much.
Oh, yeah. Bam.
Pinhead kind of walks pretty slow. You know what I mean? He just, he's not going to chase you with a chainsaw at the front door of a house. I mean, like I think the most action he does is raise his arm up or something. You know what I mean? So he doesn't do.
You can't tell me. You can't tell me that teenager's face you just cut off and put on yours isn't going to get sweaty as shit in that Texas heat when you're trying to chase somebody in a full suit and cowboy boots.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying, it may not be practical either, but it works.
I'm telling you,
killer.
He didn't see that fucking wrench.
I'm telling y'all right now. If I ever get rich, I'm flying both of y'all down here to Texas. We're making a Texas Chainsaw fan film, and I'm playing Leatherface. Y'all can do whatever else y'all want, but we're doing this thing, by God. So I'm calling dibs right now. So
you've got the physique for it more than anyone else. You got that intimidating presence of like a bigger guy that I could believe swings a saw around like it's nothing.
There will be a chain on the saw, by the way, because I want my victims actually scared when they're running away from me. So putting that in ahead of time.
He's gonna get you. Here, take this wrench. Why? I've seen this movie. Just take it.
So if Tech says, "Hey, y'all come down here and visit me in Texas," you might want to think really closely.
Come out to the coast. Have a few laughs. We'll have a chainsaw.
Just make sure that your affairs are in order. You never know what could happen. Just saying, but it is what it is.
So. You know what? I'll drive there, Tex. I may bring a few extra firepower. I'm not having to fly. No.
Oh, you could be my chop top. That's what you can be there, Jeremy. You can be my chop top. Yeah, it can be chop top. That'd be good.
That. With the little glasses and be like, whatever he does.
I can see Frank. Look what your brother did to the door. I can see Frank doing that. That'd be good.
Or we could just put him in a whole fucking an old man and have him be grandpa. I don't know.
I would do.
Have him just dance in the
I
chair.
got gray hair to do it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, let's see.
I'm down.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but Claire Higgins, who plays Julia Cotton, she hates horror movies. When she saw this movie for the first time at its premiere, She had to leave after 10 minutes because it freaked her out so much. As far as it says on IMDb, she has never seen the entire film.
I mean, I know it's
I
different.
believe that.
Like you were there, but I guess it's different seeing it. You know, you don't shoot a movie, beginning to end. So I get it. It's kind of like I know what I gotta do this day. This day I gotta do this guy who's got maybe one layer of skin. All right, hop on. And then we're taking some guy from the bar today. I don't know. I could believe.
I've often wondered what the difference is. I mean, because we've heard stories. We talked. When we did The Exorcist recently about the effects that it had on the actresses and that. I mean, there's been rumors of curses of a couple different movies. I don't necessarily believe any of them. I wonder what it would be like to film the movie knowing that it's all fake, that it's all pretend, it's all makeup and special effects, and then seeing it all on screen in the finished product. Yeah, and then finishing everything up and then seeing the finished product. I wonder what the difference would be in seeing it happen in real life in front of you while you're filming the scene and then seeing it all put together. If that alters your perception of things, I would imagine it would have to.
I'll say, like, what's her name? The girl played Pam from Texas Chainsaw. She's like, I wasn't even aware. They just had that camera right up my ass cheeks going towards the house. And she was like, whoa, I saw that. There's just my ass on
God bless Toby Hooper for that shot, too. From under that swing right to the butthole, buddy.
Right.
They just give it to you all. But
yeah, it just tracks along with her real low. And she's since been kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
She was like, oh, my God, what the hell?
That shot, her proctologist probably could have used that as an exam and not even have her come in and get so close. But one thing, with Claire Higgins and Julia here, y'all seen Hellraiser 2, right?
It's been a while. I'm thinking about going back and watching it since we did this one.
Well, Julia gets the Frank treatment where she's the skinned person in that movie. So for someone who hates horror films, I'd love to hear what she has to say about having to play that role for who knows how long. Because, she's the one that, obviously, yeah. I mean, but, Roger Corman wasn't known for paying actors well. That's kind of why he's lasted as long as Hollywood as he has. But, it is what it is.
Yeah, it actually is her in Hellraiser 2. I just looked it up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's her. Yeah. Because she starts the film skinless, but by the end of it, she's back to regular Julia until it gets ripped back off.
Nice.
Yep. Like I said, horror aficionado. I've earned my right.
We got our badges.
Talk a little bit more about Doug Bradley. At the Rat Party, Doug Bradley was almost refused entry because nobody recognized him without the pinhead makeup applied.
That sucks.
I guess that's one of the things that you have to deal with when you're in heavy makeup and stuff like that. Is now maybe Doug Bradley wasn't in like the craziest makeup, but I mean, if you're talking about one of the other Cenobites, like the Chatter or whatever, I mean, there's no face to be seen in that. So I would imagine that you'd be like, I played in Hellraiser. They're like, who are you? I don't remember seeing you in that movie. They're like, I was under a lot of makeup. They're like, are you sure you were in that movie? Or are you just saying I was the guy who was under a lot of makeup?
Here,
he gets to show his face at the end of Hellraiser 2. What you got?
You were talking about you've earned your badge. One of the pins on my vest at the haunt, Guest of Horror.
Oh, it's great.
Got it on my jacket for the devil. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And the wings, of course.
Oh yeah, the wings on the back. Yeah. This thing smells like actual. You know what? I can quote Anchorman. I'm gonna be honest with you. This smells like pure gasoline because it has all over it. Because it is. It's nasty.
You've been spraying Sex Panther all over it.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Hey, I'm in the devil's room. Trust me. I think I unlocked something for some lady this past weekend. It was doing something for her. So I know what they're about when they come in there. I'm just saying.
I'm telling you.
Let's see. Back to Doug Bradley for some more stuff. When Doug Bradley first donned the pinhead makeup, he spent a few minutes alone in his room getting into character by looking at himself in the mirror.
Yeah,
I would imagine that would be kind of a never having been in heavy makeup, for especially to this level. I would imagine that would be a pretty interesting sight to kind of see yourself all there, trying to find your motivation, as I've heard actors say.
I know. I sound like a pretentious ass when I say it, but I'm like, I'd like to think I'm method act. I've never literally been a demon, but like, I try to just get into a mindset. I'm like, I know how I want to do this, and I stay in this weird zone of that, like for like 2 months straight. So if I seem extra snippy, I'm sorry. That's just me.
Well, you gotta act it out. You gotta ask yourself, if I were a demon trying to get to this teenage girl's head, how would I do it?
Well, yeah. I mean, I tell them, I look them right in the eye. I'm like, you better check under your bed tonight when you go to sleep. You know what I mean? So shit like that.
Well, okay. This might reveal more about my psyche than I wanted to realize. But whenever y'all are just walking down the street or you encounter somebody in the store, you don't think, how would I kill this person? You never think that.
No.
I mean, not just any random. I mean, there was a Karen in a Target a while back. I was like, I would maybe string you up because I'm just tired of hearing you speak. But like,
right. Well, like I'm not saying I want to or going to do it, but it just happens every once in a while. Like, oh, I wonder what it would be like to fill in the blank here. I don't. It just happens from time to time. I get why he would do that. That makes sense.
Watch it do a flip off the building. I don't know.
I find myself like because of the nature of the world these days and whatnot. I always find myself just kind of like looking around at people and trying to catch their eyes. And if somebody looks a little shady to me, I'm just like, that's when I'll start to look at them and be like, what do I have to do to neutralize you? if it becomes necessary, I'm like, if I am in proximity to you and you start acting a damn fool, anybody who's ever you to make you no longer a problem. That might be, can I take them down physically? That might be, do I have to shoot them in the head? You never know. I mean, it's all situational awareness.
I don't know. Maybe this might be a little different, but like, I don't get. Again, I'm this little bit stays with me most of the year. I don't know why it's like. I don't know why it's so defensive in my head. Like someone just like they're just looking at me or staring at me, and and I look back and I'm like, what the fuck are you staring at? Like what the fuck you staring? Like I get like aggressive. Like what are you fucking looking at me for? Like if I'm in the haunt, I'm like I make a joke. I'm like, what is it? Something on my face? What's wrong? Like what? It's funny. They love that shit. Like what? Is this the way I look? What is it? I like your horns. Thanks. I grew them myself. Like
Adam's just they're great.
I turn into fucking is that Ice Cube when he's like this? He's like, what? Say something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Jesus, I don't know.
BJ's giving us the first time she saw you in makeup. So, he's like, I never knew it was him, but damn.
Yeah, I just again, I'm gonna toot my own horn here, but I'm just sitting here playing with this thing. They did a news story on the haunt, and I'm the first 5 seconds. I don't know. I see myself in the makeup, but I'm like, I'm not in the room and the lighting and seeing. Like I saw it and I was like, I even paused it for a second when I went to show somebody. And it's a shot of me, like I still got the flame in my hand. I got my head down like this, and I know I don't have the makeup on, but I looked at it and I'm like, God damn, I look terrified. I was like, I don't know how terrifying I actually looked until I just saw this. I'm like, Jesus, the piercing like white eyes against like the black I got around my head, and then like the red with the demon head. I was like, that is kind of. I don't realize what I'm like. I know what I look like. I think I just look normal because I forget I have it on. But I'm realizing that's what I'm looking at in people's faces, and that's why I'm like, oh, that's why they, turn away from me.
Right.
But I remember what she's talking about. Yeah, I just covered full of blood and I had a chainsaw, and I just did that and like stared at her. It was great.
Let's see, one more piece of trivia. This gets to something that Tex was talking about earlier. Doug Bradley's character was named Priest in the early drafts of the script, and ultimately became simply Lead Cenobite in the shooting script. Pinhead originated as a nickname for the character, and it stuck and began being used in the sequels. Director Clive Barker actually disliked the name, finding it undignified, and in his Hellraiser comic book series produced for Boom in 2011, had characters refer to Pinhead as Priest. He also maintains that the character has a true Cenobite name that he intends to reveal in a forthcoming work. Similarly, the female Cenobite was designated Deep Throat on set. Though the overly sexual nature of the moniker led to her simply being.
Was her government name Linda?
Maybe.
Woo!
But the overly sexual nature of the moniker led to her simply being billed as female Cenobite again in the sequel.
But you still kept the makeup, so I don't really know what you were trying to avoid there. See, I said it earlier.
Well,
I don't want to say it, but we're all thinking it. Okay.
I would recommend the Boom Studio comics. I would recommend the Boom Studio comics. They did a run of Hellraiser and they did a run of Halloween. And the Boom Studios comic for the Hellraiser, it picks back up with Kirsty, and you get to, and I won't spoil everything, but let's just say she takes a prominent role within this franchise. And the Boom Studios Halloween comic books, you get to see more of young Michael. You get to see more of Loomis and his backstory, and it connects. It has a very interesting end for Laurie, which it actually ties the Thorn trilogy films to H2O, which was originally supposed to happen but never did. But I would check those Boom Studio comic books out. You can find them online, like if you for free if you know where to look, or you can buy them. But do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, but that is what we got for you tonight. That is all the trivia. So let me go to my guys and get some final thoughts on Hellraiser, the 1987 horror classic. I'll start with you, Tex. Final thoughts on Hellraiser.
It's a well-known franchise. I think it's kind of it's overblown by a good bit. Like I said, I think more people have seen the image of Pinhead than actually looked into it or watched the film. It's not as good as its reputation would have you believe. The franchise, this is not a Mount Rushmore character. This is not a Mount Rushmore franchise. If you want to go for your fourth on the Mount, Leatherface or whoever it may be, that's a whole nother big discussion, but it's not Pinhead. Maybe watch it once. I would say watch the first three. Don't watch really any more than that unless you just really like it, because it goes into, like I said, they literally take Pinhead to space. So it is what it is. But and it's nowhere near as good, I don't think, as Jason X. Because Jason X is a badass movie. I don't care what anybody fucking says.
I'd love to see how a chainsaw works in space. That'd be interesting.
Oh, Jesus, that'd be great. But an anti-gravity chainsaws, holy shit, that'd be sweet.
Yeah,
I'm writing the fan fiction in my head right now. But no, like I said, it's an all right film. I can't say I recommend it because I don't, and I don't really enjoy it. But it's part of horror history. What are you gonna do? So.
Jeremy, how about you? Final thoughts on Hellraiser from 1990?
Don't open the box.
Touch that damn thing.
No.
Sorry, I got the song stuck in my head now.
I know. I know I'm about to listen to the song here as soon as we get off.
I so bad when I turn the Merkins on right now. Damn it, I love it.
True. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's worth a watch. Like Tex said, it's worth seeing it, just to at least see it, because it's probably true. People probably know who Pinhead is, but it's not exactly. At least, probably, I think our general consensus is not something that we jump into. I mean, I'm sure this is someone's favorite series for sure. I don't know. It's stuck around, and it's stuck around for a reason. I mean, I can say, I was trying to sing its praise that dudes in the movie, the Pinhead's actually in the movie for probably 5 minutes, probably at most. But
yeah.
And that's the creativity that it stuck around. That's it sticks in your brain that you remember that. So. And definitely the effects with Frank, you remember that shit too. So it's an interesting thing, and it had it's got cool potential because you don't know when it circles back around and you're like, ooh, someone else is gonna buy the box. What's gonna happen now? Because there's a whole world of hurt and pain and pleasure and stuff and perp accessories inside there. So yeah, no, it's worth watching if you want to be getting some weird horror, because the only other time I've seen pleasure in a horror movie was It Follows or something. Actually, no, It Follows, and what was the other? Where she like becomes a zombie or some shit because the guy like screwed a dead body. What are you talking about? You screwed the dead body in the morgue and like assaulted her at like a party, and I'm like, oh crap! Now she's turning into a zombie for some reason. I'm like, that's disgusting.
I can't remember, but I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So it's a short list of stuff like that. So yeah, it's unique. It's very unique. It's worth a watch.
Yeah, for me, again, what a lot of potential in this movie that is kind of unrealized. I mean, I think you've got some very interesting characters with a set of bites that could be a lot of fun if they were in the hands of somebody like, I'll use a more modern day guy like a Sam Raimi. I think Sam Raimi would probably take these guys to town and really do something crazy with it. But, yeah, a lot of great concepts, a lot of a miss. It was, again, I'm kind of looking at it through a modern day viewer and not somebody who was 11 years old when this movie came out. So but yeah, it's good if you, I want to call it horror light. Like if you want to watch a kind of a blood and gut slasher, it's not going to be as good as a Friday the 13th. It's not going to be as good as a Halloween. But if you want a weird concept with some weird looking people, some weird looking bad guys, and some decent character work, at least from the girl that plays Christy from Ashley Lawrence, this would be a good start if you want to dip your toe in the pool of like legit horror and not some of the comedy horror stuff, not even like a Scream, which is horror, but I think it's a little turned down compared to some
Army
horror
of Darkness.
Yeah, Army of Darkness, things like that. If you want to take
this is my boomstick.
Yeah, if you want to take a dip into something a little bit harder than some of than other things, then yeah, this would be a good movie to start with if you want to try to figure out what horror is. Is it great? Probably not really. I mean, he's not, as much as I like Pinhead as a character and the potential of all the Cenobites, he's not really on my Mount Rushmore of horror killers. I mean, for me, it's pretty basic. It's in one order or another. It's Freddy, Jason, Michael, and Leatherface. And to me, that's
mine. Yeah.
That's kind of. I mean, there's lots of guys that have potential. Pinhead, one of them, but.
He pulled the notebook out. Look at him.
Yeah,
I saw him. He's like, wait.
but yeah, for me, this movie's got a lot of potential that it doesn't quite realize. It is a fun watch overall for 1987. But again, I mean, you're talking about a decade that just spit out every 15 minutes was one movie after another. Some of them were really, really good. Some of them were creative and fun. Some of them were just not good at all. But the stuff that has stuck has stuck. And I think that Hellraiser is not a bad entry into 80s horror. You know what I mean? Especially with what some of the stuff we would get, like the 90s obviously began kind of this dark ages of horror, and horror was not very good for a while up until the last 10 or so years when things have started to get a little better. But yeah, I think it's a fun watch. You can watch it on it's on Tubi for free right now. So if you want to give it a shot for free, all you need is a Tubi account. You can go give it a watch. It's only about an hour and a half long. Again, it misses a bit, and it's a bit corny. And there were parts of the movie that I kind of wanted to laugh at because they were just so cheesy. But again, 1987. So welcome to the mid late 80s where that was cheese was kind of everywhere. But I think overall it was a decent watch. Not a great friend as a whole. Texas, right? The franchise just kind of was a steady decline after this one. So think what you will about that. But I don't know. I say give it an hour and a half of your time and check it out, and maybe you'll like it. I don't know. Jeremy, what do you want to say?
I just really quickly wrote something down in front of me so I wouldn't forget. I'm like, you know what? I want to take a stab at what I think Texas Mount Rushmore is.
It's gonna be four. It's gonna be four Michael Myers. Michael Myers.
Especially,
no,
yeah,
you're wrong. He's only one of them.
It's gonna be Halloween Ends, Michael. It's gonna be.
Oh, fuck you, motherfucker! Fuck your shit up.
It's gonna be the Meat Grinder one. No, okay, hold on, I got it. Art the Clown, Ghostface, Leatherface, Billy the Puppet.
Well, you're close.
I wouldn't imagine that he would put Ghostface there.
Maybe.
Frank, do you want to try real quick?
That was my maybe. I wasn't quite sure about Ghostface.
I mean, the one for sure is Michael. So I'm willing to bet you're going to say true. Michael.
Fuck, I should have said Michael instead of Ghostface.
You're probably certainly going Leatherface.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine you're probably going to go with. I like the idea of Art for you. I think Art the Clown.
That's why I put him first. He's George Washington. I put him first. You're welcome.
And let's see. So I'm thinking Michael, Leatherface, Art, and Jamie Lee Curtis. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, fuck you too, Fred.
Which one's worse? You didn't even say Laurie Strode. You said Jamie Lee Curtis.
I almost said Corey for a minute. I was like, he loves Corey.
If you put Corey Cunningham on there, I'm never coming on this channel again. I'll quit. You just watch.
So I'm going to say Michael, Leatherface, Art, and I want to say maybe Jason Voorhees. Okay. I'm struggling for the fourth, but I think there's love for Jason Voorhees there.
Y'all got 3 of them, but I have very specific versions. Like I said, this is my Mount Rushmore, so I get to make up the rules. 03 Leatherface. I love the version of Leatherface in that film from the 03 remake of the film. Rob Zombie's Michael Myers. Tyler Mane is the greatest of all Michael Myers ever. Yes, of course, my brother Art the Clown, my clown half, has to make it just for the bleach and salt kill and the hacksaw kill we're going to talk about on Tuesday. But number four is where it got interesting. I will tell you some contenders. We had Ashy Slashy himself, the King. We had Jigsaw, but there's one name that I had to put on there: Captain Spaulding from House of a Thousand Corpses and the Firefly Family Trilogy. I adore Captain Spaulding. If I could be any character in horror in film, I would be Captain Spaulding, because that dude just embodies everything that I love. So if you need my Mount Rushmore, it's 07 Myers, 03 Leatherface, Captain Spaulding, and Art the Clown. That is my Mount Rushmore. So it is what it is. Damn right.
Yeah, I was taking an outside shot with Jason. I thought about Jigsaw, but I was just like,
that's why I said Billy.
Like
maybe
be one that we don't really get a chance to talk about that much, and it's like we've mentioned it in passing. Yeah. Like Jason Voorhees is kind of one of the godfathers of all horror. So
oh, don't get me wrong. I love Jason. And he was this close from being on the list. But Captain Spaulding, Sid Haig, I mean, just the performance. He was only there for a couple of them, but his performance was so good, man. I could not leave him off the list. So, and the same thing with Bruce Campbell with Ash, but it is what it is.
And most of all, fuck you. God damn it, got blood on my best clown suit.
We need to review that one. We need to review House of a Thousand Corpses. Yeah. I love that freaking movie.
Yes. I am damn well coming in here as Chris Hardwick's character. I'm going to go, Dr. Satan!
I will put the Spaulding paint on if we do House of a Thousand Corpses. I will go cosplay as well. I'm down for that.
I need long hair. I need to be
Free from Hell that I have. I thought it was House of a Thousand Corpses for a minute, but
that's sweet.
One of the many.
That's actually a pretty good film too.
It's one of the things I need to get framed so I can put up. But one of the many things that I can frame so I can put up. But there's our review of Hellraiser tonight, as well as a little bit of bonus material about our Mount Rushmore of horror killers.
About that, yeah.
So you can tell how that gives you an indication.
Jamie Lee Curtis, you stupid asshole.
It gives you some kind of indication of just how deranged we all are, the kind of horror killers that we like. But thanks to my amazing co-hosts for bringing their expertise. This whole month long, you guys have been carrying the channel, I swear to God. I mean, from the Saw stuff that you guys were doing, and then obviously this is a big one where we try to immerse ourselves in it. And I could not think of two better guys to immerse myself in the horror genre with than you guys. You guys have been fantastic all month. We've got a couple of we're going to be doing. Next is going to be Terrifier on Thursday. I'm really looking forward to you guys. And then we're going to finish at some point. Maybe we'll have to figure out exactly when, but Five Nights at Freddy's is actually coming out in just a couple of days. That's definitely going to be something that occupies a good part of my weekend. All my kids want to go see it. They're like, we got to go see Five Nights at Freddy's. So
I bought my tickets last week already. Trust me, I'm locked in.
I'm pretty sure Jeremy's just chomping at the bit to break that one down. So
you imagine me, imagine her. That's her favorite, that's her favorite horror series, like games and shit.
So maybe it's a big panel. Maybe Rachel's going to be on here breaking it all down with us. I don't know.
Well, I know maybe.
Five Nights at Freddy's is going to be a lot of fun. But thanks to my amazing co-host for coming to hang out with me tonight. My man Tex the Sheriff from Lone Star State. Where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
Here tomorrow and the next day. Obviously, the football talk tomorrow. There's a lot of interesting things happening in the National Football League. I don't know what topics we will decide upon, but it'll be a fun show. And then make sure you're here Thursday because we get to talk Art the Clown, buddy. I mean, modern day icon. And you need to be here Thursday whenever I profess my case for why he is already at the level of Michael, Freddie, Jason, and whoever else that you want to say. So just come here Thursday for that. So, yeah, it is what it is. Oh, and go Rangers. Go and take it. 4 more wins, and we got that ring, buddy. 4 more wins. So, yeah.
I'm going for the Rangers, but only because I'm a Giants fan and I want to see Boch get 1 more ring. I mean, he's already a Hall of Fame manager, already a great guy, but I just want to see him get 1 more ring. I thought it was
go and take it, baby. Go and take it.
I thought it was kind of funny that Madison Bumgarner, I guess, was on social media offering his services to the Rangers as if they're going to sign him just for the World Series. But I would love to go play for Bruce Bochy. I mean, hey, he had his best years under Bruce Bochy, so if I were him, I'd want to go play under Bochy again too. But yes, I will be cheering on the Texas Rangers for the World Series. I just don't give a shit.
4 more, baby. We need 4 more. We're almost there. 4 more, and we're there.
So one more for Boch. That's all I want, and then I can go back to hitting everybody that's not San Francisco Giants for next year. And then, of course, my hetero life mate Jeremy. What do you got going on the internet, my friend? I know that you're on the tail end of what is a very busy month for you. And so what are your plans for the next couple weeks moving forward online?
I'm just going to slump into a depression until next September. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go into hibernation.
He's going to do like Michael Myers in part 6 and sleep in some old dude's cabin until next October when he wakes up.
Hey, at least I'm not sleeping in some dingy fucking sewer and get my ass kicked by some old twat with a fucking motorcycle. So, Trust me, I didn't like the movie.
Corey Cunningham this thing, all right? Don't be a Corey Cunningham. Nobody wants that.
No. No, I'm here on Tuesday, Thursday, doing whatever fun movies we're doing. And like I said, I know it's the tail end of Halloween, but it's
Halloween never ends.
I know it's a fun time. Well, I get paid for it. The pay ends, but yeah, it never stops. Like there's still plenty we can do, and I watch other movies. Trust me. So, but I'm not putting on makeup and scaring the shit out of people. Literally scaring the shit out of people. I think someone crapped themselves 2 weekends ago. It still smells in there. We already made a girl. She threw up right in front of me. We already made a girl throw up right in front of me. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's great.
Thanks for that. So no, yeah, hopefully it's a fun weekend. I've got a Halloween outfit planned for work because why not? We're not doing anything else. I like to have fun. And I continue to suck at Fortnite, but Casey's like the ugly friend. Like I put him next to me in the game to make myself look better. So honestly, I'm not that.
So you look better.
I could be worse.
Casey's your fat friend.
That poor guy.
I love you, Casey, but that's hilarious. That's great.
Yeah. We love you, Casey. He has come through in a few games. I'm not gonna lie. He saved my ass a few times. Yeah, great. just Fortnite. Actually, speaking of that, Michael Myers just dropped today in Fortnite, and I'm about to I'm sitting here itching because I'm like I want to do that now. So that's a cool thing.
I can hear the theme song right now.
Yeah, that's the emo. A piano or a keyboard pops up. He just starts. The chords as he pulls up the knife and it's fun. So that's pretty much all I'm doing. And then 1 more weekend of spooky shit. And I'm gonna probably wash that jacket because it reeks of gasoline. I feel icky when I put it on, but about an hour later I kind of forget and I don't really care. So.
And as Tex said, we're going to be back here tomorrow. What I've been drinking out of my 49er cup all night is 2 weeks worth of tears. It has not gone well for my boys in gold the last couple of weeks. So we're going to be so me and Tex are going to try to ascertain what the hell is going on with the San Francisco 49ers. I just don't get it. Also, we're giving you some of our thoughts on fantasy football, some of the players we think you should be targeting. And also, don't forget, on Thursday, Terrifier, baby, the one that I know that Tex has been chomping at the bit to get at. I know that Jeremy's been wanting to get at it.
I have been
Oh.
impressed by this. I fully agree. Holy crap, he definitely earned his place on a Mount Rushmore of horror. Holy shit.
I cannot.
We talk about pushing the envelope in horror, and holy God, did he push the envelope right down that girl's whole body.
I am requiring everybody within the sound of my voice go watch The Ninth Circle on YouTube, All Hallows Eve on Tubi, Terrifier 1 on Tubi, and then Terrifier 2 is on Amazon, I believe. So go watch all 4 of those by Thursday, because Arthur Clown demands greatness because he is one of the greats. So watch them all. You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm eager to get these guys' thoughts on Terrifier. I have my thoughts on the film. I actually just watched the first Terrifier for the first time the other night. I've got my thoughts on the film. I will break all these down for you. I'm hoping to go see Terrifier 2. You know, Tex and I were talking about it before we started streaming tonight. Terrifier 2 is actually going to be getting re-released on November 1st. And Regal Cinemas, a limited re-release. There's going to be a couple of showings. We're supposedly going to be getting the first trailer for Terrifier 3, which is supposed to come out at some point in the next year. I'm guessing probably this time next year.
I need to see two soon.
So I'm thinking about trying to venture my way up to the theater that day to watch Terrifier 2 in theaters to hopefully get a chance to see this trailer, which I'm sure will be on YouTube 5 minutes after it shows up on screen. And maybe even get a poster, which would be pretty cool. Because I need some more horror posters for my stuff here. It's like a lot of like Star Wars and Planet of the Apes. I've got like 3 from Hell, but I got Winnie.
I'm good on my horror stuff on the side of the room.
Yeah, I got Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey right up there, but the glare you can't see it.
Oh, I can't wait for number 2 of that. They're bringing in Tigger, dude. Tigger's gonna be in the new one. I can't wait.
That's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait for that one to come out. Also, hopefully, Toxic Avenger is going to come out. Tex, you live down in Texas. That's where they premiered it. Have you heard anything about the new Toxic Avenger movie?
I have been clamoring because they had whatever it is, Fantastic Fest down there in Austin or whatever. A buddy of mine saw the film. I told him no spoilers, but he said, knowing me, I'm going to love it. I can't find a release date. It's being produced by a major studio. It's going to get a release date somewhere, somehow. I haven't heard anything, but I will definitely stay on top of it, and I'll make sure to pass it along the next time we're live once I do have that information. So stay tuned.
Yeah, hopefully that'll be coming out soon, too, because I'm really looking forward to breaking that one down with these guys. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But thanks to everybody in the chat for coming to hang out. We very much appreciate it. BJ, always good to see you. Rachel in there a little bit. Chris Kraft, thank you very much for coming and hanging out. We very much appreciate it.
Holy crap.
Did we actually hit 500?
Did we?
Did we hit it?
Somebody said it in the chat.
Then Chris did it. Chris is the 500th.
Can we confirm? Can we confirm?
Hold on.
My app says 499. Let me go to Twitter so I can.
Hold on. Let me go back.
YouTube's main page. We need a confirmation and a screenshot for evidence.
Sometimes it doesn't always update.
Yeah, it doesn't. It says 499 right now.
Oh no.
He says you're welcome, and he's $4.99. Damn you!
Oh,
he's $4.99.
Thank you, Chris Kraft.
Chris, you know what, Chris? Very important that you're here. Very glad to have you. Hopefully, you come back more.
We are so grateful.
Come back more.
Uno mas. Uno mas.
Yeah,
he's been my best friend since like 5th grade. So trust me, that works. Came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Thanks.
One more, and we will do our charity stream for the Abandoned Pet Project. As soon as we hit 500, I will work that into the schedule somehow. It may not be closer to the end of the year, but we will get it done. I know we got a pretty full schedule from now until January 31st, but maybe I'll just make that the New Year's Eve stream. Maybe that's just what I'll do for New Year's Eve.
That'd be cool.
We'll just start at like 6 o'clock, cool. and then we'll all just get hammered and we'll say terrible things we probably shouldn't be allowed to say.
Maybe Frank will find that Greek alcohol.
Maybe I'll find that Greek alcohol, that Uso or whatever it's called. And we'll get hammered on Greek alcohol. And we'll just have a good
we can play the game of who passes out or pukes first. We can play that game. That'd be fun. Something like that.
Well, I call it snooze you lose. I'm a fucking pro at snooze you lose. You fall asleep first, you're getting dick drawn in your face.
Oh, no, you know what? I've done that. Tex knows already. Tex knows. Like the Rose has fallen asleep on like derailed segments and stuff like that, and I will take a screen with him and put Jeremy. I haven't shown you. I don't know if I have anymore, but I was taking all kinds of. I was doing all kinds of terrible things with like giant cartoon dicks and all kinds of shit. To put
Frank ended a reunion stream because of how violent this picture was. It was bad.
I didn't realize it was going to pop up on screen when I sent it to Drew. It just kind of popped up. He's like,
wow.
It just kind of happened to be there. Weird.
He put it on screen, and Drew just got quiet and into oh, we got to go, and just killed it. It was done, man. It was bad. But yeah,
it was not my finest moment. It was not well thought out, but yeah, we'll get there. We'll get to 500. We'll do the Abandoned Pet Project live stream. As soon as we get to 500, spread the word, like the stream, let your friends know. I've been trying to pimp out the people I've been talking to for the last couple of weeks, just trying to get there. But we will get there eventually. But thank you all for coming and hanging out. We very much appreciate it. Terrifier on Thursday. Me crying about back-to-back losses to the Niners tomorrow night. I've been drinking my own tears out of my 49er cup all night. So come hear me cry some more tomorrow night. And until next time, we'll see you then. Adios.
Adios. You know, we did get one boob in this movie. I mean, we didn't get a full set, but we got one. So that counts, right?
Well, I mean, that's
got some glamour shots.
We didn't get like, for Friday the 13th levels of nudity.